Hey everyone, Olaf the Bull here for ACrpg, and I just wanted to put together this sort of short video to explain how we use Patreon to help support our role-playing shows as well as the sort of larger online role-playing community. If you've seen any of our Twitch broadcasts before, you know that we use a lot of custom art for the show. We use the Roll20 platform for all of its logistical benefits, but instead of using the stock artwork or MS Paint style maps, we design all of our own art to make the visual experience for the players and our viewers as close to being around the actual table as possible. Now, if you're like me, you probably started your role-playing life with maps similar to something like this, right? Flat maps with sort of numbers and layouts of where things were. But then, every once in a while, you might have gotten in a box set or adventure campaign something like one of these. Now, this was an actual 3D model that the designers put together by hand and then photographed in order to make a city map out of it. And that sort of thing always really appealed to me. That style just really put me in the world a little bit more than that sort of blocky overland grid system. So now that it isn't 1994 anymore, and we play on digital platforms like Roll20, we're creating art assets that translate to this new medium. They essentially come in three forms. First, and perhaps most importantly, are the battle maps. We create all of our maps in a 3D software program and then export them as a square 2000 pixel JPEG, and that then only really needs to be dragged and dropped into your online game. We create towns, cities, building interiors, and, of course, dungeons. Some things, like the city maps or building interiors, they're intended to be kind of used as is. But then the dungeons are made as tile sets, so you can rotate them around to create your own custom layout. Our second product category are what we call flavor scenes or flavor items. These are JPEG images that reflect something on the various battle maps that you may want to show your players, like a statue or a unique figure. Or maybe they're renderings of items that you can use as representations of magical devices or objects. Third are the map tokens. Now, many of you have probably played role-playing games around the table using miniatures, and that is what we're trying to capture with the map tokens we create. Instead of the sort of top-down perspective that most Roll20 tokens come in, we create ours using a kind of isometric perspective that gives a little more depth to the player, NPC, or monster in question. And we don't just limit ourselves to figures. We also render out stock items like barrels and crates or campfires, anything that you might need to layer on top of your battle map in order to kind of properly set the scene. As you can imagine, all of this requires a lot of time and effort, but also investment in the various base items we use to create the maps or objects. Hence this Patreon page. However, we didn't want to make a help us put on the show by giving us money sort of thing. Instead, we wanted to have our supporters getting real tangible rewards for assisting us. So, roughly once a month, we will put out a package here on Patreon of all the maps, scenes, items, or map tokens we've created for our broadcast. And all of the supporters of $10 or more can download these items and use them for their own games, whether just between friends or streaming like we do. And for those of you that go above and beyond, we've got options for creating custom assets where we work with you in order to bring them to a visual life. So hopefully that explains in brief what we're doing, and I hope you want to be a part of it. Don't be shy if you have any questions about emailing us at help@acrpg.com. Thanks.